Guys, the moment you've been waiting for. This is JUMANJI Transform. So as you can see, it's no longer what it was before. We put a ton of work into here. I'm gonna walk you guys through the exterior first, and then we'll go through the interior after this. I'm just gonna kind of touch on some of the stuff we had to deal with. So first thing we did is you can see everything has been leveled and graded. Before it was pretty uneven and terraced in a lot of different areas. This whole rock wall we had to completely rebuild. The stuff we pulled out of here is ridiculous. Tools, bicycles, tons of just buckets and water pails and just ridiculous things. So it was a lot more work than we expected, but I think it turned out really amazing. So our long-term plan for this property, just so you know, is we are going to probably build another house on the lower half of this lot here. That's why we kept it kind of straightforward and just did hydro seeding down all the way along it. So up here a little further, I'll show you guys kind of what else we got into. If you remember before, this was completely overgrown with bamboo, like 20 feet tall, about as tall as the house. If you don't remember what that looks like, you guys shoot me a message, or I'll put a link to the original walkthrough of the house when you guys can see actually what it looked like before we got started and why it's named Jumanji. So this was all pretty straightforward on this side. We didn't have to do a lot outside of just leveling it and removing about 9 dumpsters, 40-yard dumpsters of just yard debris and tearing down some sheds and whatnot. On this side of the house, we actually did have to do some work on the septic system. It was pretty basic work. We kind of got lucky there, so we didn't have to do a lot to it, just fix some minor stuff. But you can see we had ended up rebuilding the entire deck. Originally, we were going to try to keep the deck, but it ended up being pretty rotted out. The floor joists going into the house were rotted as well, so we ended up having to just tear the whole thing down and rebuilt it and added those stairs, which actually takes advantage of this really great view we have now. So other than that, coming up here, we just ended up putting a bunch of kind of, native plants for the house, so it's going to be pretty low maintenance. Again, this is going to end up being rented out for a while, so we wanted something that's just kind of easy to maintain. You can see we still have some bamboo left here. We're going to kind of let some of it pop up in a couple places. Otherwise, this stuff is like almost impossible to get rid of. So just something for you guys to know. Basically, the only way you can really get rid of bamboo is digging all the way down and getting to the bottom of the roots. And when you have 20-foot tall bamboo, it's an insane amount of work. So what we ended up doing is we scraped like the top 4 inches off all of the soil everywhere. And I'm just gonna have landscapers kind of do monthly maintenance and just pull this bamboo as it comes up. It's about the best way that we could figure to actually solve that. So otherwise over here, we did have to continue the retaining wall along the front of the house. Before it was kind of sloped down and it wasn't actually finished around. So if you can see over on that side, it's actually tied all the way around now, and it's a proper retaining wall and kind of tied everything together. Some big learning lessons for me on the landscaping. This is a huge lot, and I underestimated quite a bit just on the total amount of material. We had like 80 yards of bark we had to put out here, but that was a lot easier to do, and it actually turned out really, really nice. I think this place got dialed in really well. So around this side, so the front of the house, you guys can see we ended up putting new garage doors, the beautiful new double entrance. I'll walk you guys through that on the inside tour here in a few minutes. But otherwise, up on this side, we already had this really nice retaining wall here, which was great, but we had to level this more. There were some terrace areas here, a bunch of really old railroad ties. We had to get rid of all of that, and then we put sod up on this side, and then we put a lot of nice kind of native landscaping here. It looks kind of sparse now, but within about a year or so, all of this is going to fill in, and it's going to be really nice looking and just, again, really low maintenance to take care of. And then over on this side was a ton of work as well. So you have this detached 2-car garage up here. There was no way to get to it before. You just had to kind of climb this gross mountain of dirt and debris. So we ended up installing these really cool stairs, which I think just actually finished the house really well on the outside. So now you have easy access up to the garage, which is great. And then you have really nicely manicured landscaping up here. So other than that, on the other side of the house, we ended up just doing a lot of other native plants out there and just kind of keeping it pretty easy to maintain, and just a lot of bark along the backside. So this place went from being literally the worst looking house in a beautiful neighborhood on a big corner lot, which was like a terrible eyesore, to now the neighbors absolutely love me. We had a ton of neighbors come through the open house just for the neighbors, and they were beyond happy with what we did. So that's one of the best parts about this. I absolutely love getting to meet the neighbors. So this was an amazing transformation. So let me know what you guys think of the exterior. And again, if you don't remember what it looks like, let me know. Take a look at my other posts and you guys can see what this thing started as and now what it looks like now. So that's it on the exterior. Let's jump inside and I'll show you guys what it looks like.